Welcome to Sailing Magic Carpet. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about why Aladino bought this total shipwreck of a boat for 10,000 Swiss francs. That's almost exactly equal to 10,000 US dollars. So this is the first in a new weekly mini-series from Sailing Magic Carpet. We're going to go in depth into the restoration of our Vindo 32 that Aladino bought about 4 years ago and did almost a total refit on. Quick context in case you're new here. 4 years ago, this boat fell 20 feet off a crane onto concrete. Insurance wrote it off and it was destined for the junkyard. Instead, Aladino bought it and spent 4 years doing major repairs. He did an incredible job and the boat, Magic Carpet, is now our home. Many of you have been wanting to know some more of the details behind this huge undertaking. And so today we're going to get started with why Aladino even made the decision to purchase this boat for relatively still a large amount of money. We know, and Aladino certainly knew back then, 4 years ago, that you could buy a perfectly functional sailboat for $10,000. But just having a functional sailboat was not really entirely what this was about, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that in the interview, which we're going to set up right now. So let's head over there. Hi, Dini.
Hi.
So just to provide some background, you are a certified boat builder. And 4 years ago, you decided to start your boat building apprenticeship in Switzerland after you became introduced to sailing during your gap year in America. So your mentor in America was a man named Miguel. He introduced you to sailing. You came back to Switzerland, decided that was the thing for you, and became a boat builder. And when you became a boat builder in the boatyard where you were starting your apprenticeship, you saw Magic Carpet lying a total shipwreck in the corner of the boatyard. So I'm just trying to imagine, what made you think, as someone who was just starting an apprenticeship, who knew almost nothing about boats, I'm going to take that boat and I'm going to fix it. What gave you that idea?
It was part of what Miguel told me to look for. So he always recommended long keel boats for living on them and cruising. And he said preferably not longer than 12 meters. She just had that graceful beauty also to her. Which you could see even though she was so mangled at that point, really. Oh yeah, you could still see it though. Yeah, totally. I also decided to do this restoration to pin myself down and actually make it through the whole apprenticeship. I imagined that I would have a hard time staying here for 3 years after starting to travel on a sailboat, having my own little boat in the States, and then having absolutely no more freedom at all, working 5 days a week, 9 hours a day. That was hard for me to imagine. So being a bit of a flight risk, I decided to start the project here. First of all, not to have any more money to book flights and go somewhere, and also to learn more while doing the project, and then ending up having my boat once I finished the apprenticeship. Another reason why I started this project was my friend and mentor Miguel. My plans were to keep sailing with him once I would have finished my apprenticeship and show him all I've learned. So I bought Magic Carpet and I started restoring her, and I didn't tell him for about a year because I wanted to keep this a surprise. But then unfortunately he passed away, and he has actually never gotten to know that I had bought Magic Carpet and started this project, which was very sad. I was very sad about that. But I am still very grateful for that spark. And yeah, look where we have come.
You make me start to cry every time you tell that story.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to stop the camera for a second.
Once I bought Magic Carpet, I started work on her every weekend, every free hour. My reading was all just nautical stuff. So yeah, I dove in, all in.
Yeah.
Yeah, started late, but there was nothing else and still isn't. So yeah, motivation is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Totally.
So the one thing that I was pretty shocked about when I first met you was how much you paid for the boat initially. $10,000 for a total shipwreck lying in the corner of the boatyard, pretty much just ready to be stripped down for parts and then put to the junkyard. What justified $10,000?
Well, just before the crash happened, they had installed a brand new engine in the boat. That is a big part of its value. So basically I had to pay $8,000, which was the value of the engine, and I got all of the rest. The boat equipped how it was with sails and tarps and everything for, let's say, $2,000. So that makes it $10,000 altogether.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the boatyard definitely got a good deal out of that. But the other part of the deal, which I think is really important to mention, is that because you were doing the apprenticeship here, you bought the boat from the boatyard, you were allowed to do all the repairs in the boatyard. And for me, I mean, I met you during the last year of the restoration, and so I helped you with the last kind of year of the restoration. And being able to work in a covered space with all of the tools, all of the materials just right at hand, that is invaluable.
Yeah.
So how important do you think that was to finishing the project?
That was, yeah, I can't put it in words. That was truly magical. Everybody I spoke to initially about doing this project, like my teachers, boat builders I know, they said not to do it. But I still decided to do it, and it might have been a bit expensive, but it was exactly the amount that I had.
Yeah, you had $10,000 in your bank account.
I still had got some money from my grandparents, and that's all I had. So I was like, perfect. There really is no flight ticket in there, not even to Barcelona. And I also saw the opportunity of learning a lot. We have one big workshop with 2 cranes. We have a dugout section where we can drop in the keel. So we have the boat at working height. I mean, it's just amazing. And I was not able to keep the boat inside all the time. But what was really valuable to me was summer. It's the calm season for us working. All the boats are out sailing, and if there is no crash or something big coming in, we're pretty much doing some gardening and cleaning and organizing. So that's when I talked to my boss and I asked him, could I work on my boat? For him, it was also from advantage because I learned more. And I said he doesn't have to pay me, but if I could get time off to just work on my boat. So there is where I got 1 full month where I could keep the boat inside since the workshop is empty anyway and work on it full time. And I did.
And just focus.
Yeah, I did 12 to 15 hours days, and that's when I made big progress.
So once you decided that this project was something that you were interested in, what kind of surveys did you do and did you look at to decide if it would actually be feasible financially and just with the amount of hours of work involved?
I ignored the hours way too much, but yeah, got them together at the end. When the accident happened, a surveyor came over.
From the insurance company?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. That our boatyard is insured with, and he made a very detailed description of what had happened, what was damaged, how many hours it would need to repair, what the costs would be. And thanks to that document, I was able to see it more in detail, because I mean, I stepped into the shipwreck a few times and I could not really imagine what is behind it. And I still found many more things broken, which you cannot do by just checking the boat 2 days. He was here 2 days, I believe, and he checked as much as he could, and he got most of the things. So that was the most valuable thing I had to start working with, was that survey.
Yeah, just like an itemized list of everything that
Yeah,
needed to be
it was
done.
like 20 pages or more.
Yeah.
So first of all, that also needs to be done to actually realize it is a write-off, because the boat could be repaired or the boat could be paid off.
Yeah, well, yeah, written off, and the owner just gets paid.
Exactly.
For the amount. Yeah.
So thanks to the survey, they realize, oh, it takes way too many hours. It's not worth repairing it. We pay you what you have lost. So he has to figure out how much it is worth, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Kind of balance the budget.
Yeah. And if you're interested pretty much how that is done, because I didn't know myself, first you think of how much would it cost to have this boat built now, 2018, in a boatyard, and that came to about $220,000, which is about the same like Swiss francs. And then from that, they deduct a percentage for how many seasons it has been sailed, and then it was left at about $50,000 because they have owned it 40 years. So from those $50,000 though, you add again all the things you have done to the boat, like maybe you have equipped it with a fridge, solar panels that are pretty recent, and on every item that there is in the boat adds value, but it's also just in a percentage of, like, the solar panels are 3 years old already. So if they were $300 new, so that's just adding a value of 150 now, just an example. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was quite interesting to read that. And pretty much the value of the boat came to be 90,000. And by calculating the amount of hours it would take to repair it, it was above that. So they wrote it off, gave the owner the money, and the boatyard ended up with the shipwreck, which I bought.
So now that you've finished the project, Magic Carpet is now floating and is in fantastic condition. Do you think it was worth the initial $10,000 price tag? And not only in terms of like the boat that you now have, but also the things that you learned along the way, the experience in general?
Yeah, absolutely. It's for sure nothing I would ever regret, but at the end of the project I was kind of in a situation where I say, I won't do it again. But actually, yeah, never say never. I start feeling an itch, I think, after not doing something for a while.
I saw that this summer. Aladino was always looking at bigger boats, things that he could repair and customize and make our own. So I don't think Magic Carpet is going to be the last restoration project.
No, not the last restoration, but maybe not to that extent. Like something that has not fallen off the crane would have enough to work on already.
Totally. I agree. Something with a hull that's already kind of intact would be nice.
Would be nice.
Yeah.
No, but it was a very good experience.
So that's the first episode of our bi-weekly mini-series about the restoration of Magic Carpet, just kind of about the general overview of why Aladino decided to take on a project like this. And in the next episode, we're going to be talking about the actual damages that were inflicted on the boat, kind of going through that itemized list, seeing exactly what needed to be fixed. And then from there, we'll just keep building, showing the practical ways that you actually fixed the boat and kind of the choices you had to make along the way and the methods that you used. So this is going to be a very in-depth mini-series. I'm not sure how many videos yet, maybe 4 or 5. We'll have to see.
Sure.
But thanks, Dimi.
And still just a very little part covered.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 4-year project.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Aladino.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. If you don't already know, we do also have a Patreon account, which we use to share behind the scenes. I share some of my writings, some extra samples of my music on that account. It's a great way to connect more with some of you, and it's also really nice for us to have some kind of support for these adventures and travels that we're doing. So if you haven't already, go check it out and see what you think. I also want to thank a few of our Patreons for their extra generous contributions to our channel. Not only your support, but also your friendship, your stories, your ideas have helped us a lot on this journey. So big thanks to all of you, and extra big thanks to Pat Mornan, Scott Grometer, Lloyd Feldbaum, John Dodd, and James F. Gardner. I have all your names memorized now, so I don't have to look them up every time now. Thank you so much, you guys, and I hope that we can just continue sharing ideas and stories as time goes on.